So, I'm putting together this recording because I feel like it's kind of cool. I guess the question I want to ask is who would want to play a video game while learning about physics? I think just about anybody would. So, what I want to show is what I'm currently working on, where I'm trying to develop a game using RPG Maker that will literally teach physics. So, you can see I've got some stuff going on here that we'll be looking at a little bit later. But anyway, really quick, that's basically what I'm doing is I want to show that what I want to do is develop this RPG game using RPG Maker to teach physics. So up here I'm going to start it, and it's going to play some music. Oh, I forgot I have it in full screen mode. Should have took that off first, but nevertheless. So, new game. Turn down a tad. So blah blah blah. I'm not really interested in the conversation here. It's just your standard RPG startup, talking about things like, oh, this is happening, blah blah blah. You need to do this, the typical RPG beginning. Now, obviously, this is kind of a long beginning, and I'm thinking about changing some of this stuff. But nevertheless, this is what it's looking like. So, moving around a little city. It's pretty straightforward so far. I'm going to be doing a little bit of modifications to this area, but nothing too major right away. Go over here and look. Interestingly enough, the faces keep changing. I have somebody working on that to give me certain images to use for that, but nothing quite yet. Join Quill. If you've read the introduction, there's actually this big long story about what Quill is. It's an organization looking into the mysteries of the universe, basically. What basically any physicist does. So here you go, and we're going to go to a cryptozoological person. Just one of my little things is I love cryptozoology. Here's the text. As you can see, it says cryptic zoology, and I meant cryptozoology. So that needs to be changed. But nevertheless, here's a brief introduction to one of the main characters of the story, Professor Gray, who, as I said, is a cryptozoology. In the very beginning, there is a series of tasks that you need to complete in order to be accepted into Quill, which is after you're accepted, the real RPG component of it begins. So these are the first groups of tasks. So now I'm in Professor Gray's office. Stuff going on here. Here's me moving around. This right now is the symbol for the Library of Ages. I'm thinking about making some changes to that. But like everything, it's one thing at a time. So here are the topics right now that I have covered in the Library of Ages. There are more coming. It's just a matter of time. So if I click on position, I have the option of either opening up a text file or a video. I mean, truthfully, I can open up both, but nevertheless, I have the option to do that right away. The text file. So the text file opens up a Google Doc file. So the game is still playing right now. But anyway, this text file opens up this Google Docs file that gives a very simple definition of what position is. Now, I've decided to do it this way, where it actually leaves the game and opens up a Google Doc file, because at this point, somebody could simply say file, and if it wasn't their file, they could make a copy of it, and that copy would be stored in their Google Drive, so that they would always have this basic definition of what position is. And I want to do that with all of it so that that's going to be available to everybody over and over and over again. I'm trying to include a little bit of graphic there just so that I can talk about what a position vector is. But nevertheless, that's there. Quickly, let's go back to the game. I want to do that again. And this time I want to open up the video. Now, I don't like the sound of my own voice, but nevertheless, here we go. So instead of opening up the Google Doc file, it actually opens up my YouTube video on the discussion of what position is. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of my own voice. But anyway, there's my video on what position is. So, and it's on an education account, so if your school is blocking YouTube with the exception of the education accounts, you'd still be able to access this. So that's what's going on there. I'm going to stop this because it'll play through the whole thing. Back to the game. So I could keep going through there, and can keep reading, and I can keep watching lecture. But here's the other thing that I've been currently working on. I can talk to Mr. Gray. Obviously, this is not the face of Mr. Gray. It's kind of a placeholder right now. And I want to talk about location, because location is good, but the other two aren't quite finished yet. And so now we're going to go to the location lab, and we're going to talk about position. Okay, so now we're going to go to the position lab. Now the position lab, as you see in the top, it says location lab. There's 5 questions, and each question you get right, you receive a prize. For each question you get wrong, it's going to cost you. The prize is money. Okay, so it's the cash coin that you get in the game that allows you to buy things. The cost is cash again. So you're gaining money on right answers, and you're losing money on wrong answers. But anyway, I just want to go through the first question. I really don't want to go through them all because it just keeps going over and over the same material. So it will cost you, the first question, answer this. The crystal is located at the origin. As you can see, it's located at the origin. Where is the location of the sheep with respect to the origin? Consider the y-axis to be up and down, with up being positive, and consider the x-axis left and right, with the right being positive. Okay, so if I go in there and I'm like, okay, so it's in the positive x by 5 spaces. So I do this. Great, you've given the correct answer. And it'll go through all of these questions. I'm just going to kind of blow through it so I can get through the end of it really quick. So this one's going to be negative 5y. Okay, and it just keeps going that way. More and more. And there's actually a little counter on the top. It's pretty hard to see. So this was a little more trickier. If you see the sheep, it's kind of behind the text. That's something I kind of have to work on. I think I need to move that sheep for this question, but nevertheless. Third question, once again, it's the same question. It's just that the sheep is in a different location, 5 and 2. That's 5 in the x, negative 2 in the y. Sorry, that was incorrect. Now I get bumped all the way back to the beginning again and have to answer those questions over. So eventually, the idea is that you would end up having to answer those 5 questions. Now, unfortunately, I haven't gotten to the point where the code will quit. So I am going to force quit my way out of this, and so I don't have to worry about that right now. But there is an option to do that. I just don't have it set up quite yet. So if you saw my first video on it, I was planning on doing an RPG Maker based on the zombie apocalypse, which would have been a little, in my opinion, it would be kind of interesting because it would be about building things that would help you survive the apocalypse. Well, this one I'm shifting to a steampunk mode because it's less violent. It's not covered in blood and all that other stuff, so I figured I'd go with the steampunk thing. Anyway, I hope you liked the video, and if you liked the video, please let me know. Send me an email or send something to me via YouTube or even Google+. Okay? Thank you.